Hello, this is my tutorial on Google Sheets. Here is just how you make a new Google Sheet. So once you have that created, you can title it up here under this untitled spreadsheet. So I'm going to call it Test Spread Sheet. Okay, and then you can make different columns here, and I'm going to say that I have a column for x squared stuff, and I've got a column for y divided by 2. Okay, and then I want to make myself a column here of x and y. So let's say I have a bunch of information down here. So I just have a bunch of numbers, and I have a bunch of numbers here. Okay, so this is just my data for what I recorded, x squared, and here's my y divided by 2. So over here, what I want is I want my x to actually equal this square squared. Okay, and so once you do that, now this square is equal to this square times itself. Okay, and I can actually just drag this down, and I will continue on that same formula. So if I click in here, it tells me that I'm at that square, square number 2, square number 3, and it moves it all the way down, which is really quite a nice function. That way you only have to make one calculation, and it does all the rest for you. Same thing over here. This is y, so if I want this box divided by 2, then I can just do that. So now this box is equal to this box, B2, that's why it's written B2 here in yellow or orange, divided by 2. Click enter, and you grab this little box here at the bottom right corner of it, and you can drag down that formula. So what that means is, if you go down the list, if you're on row 6, it's going to use stuff from row 6, B7, B8, B9, B10. Okay, pretty nice function. It's quite helpful. But this is just the normal part of what a spreadsheet does. Okay. However, for labs, the most important part is that you get a graph out of it, right? So you can either click this button here, insert chart, or this button over here, insert, and then you click on chart. So I'm going to do that. I have highlighted the data points that I need, that I want. But if you don't have highlighted what you want, you can always click like this. And you can add one range. So I can go like this, and I can select my X column, and here I can select my Y column. Oops. But if I don't want to have these two columns, and I don't want them right next to each other, I could instead use this column here, and instead of this one, I can use this column here. So now I'm using column A, as it says here, and column C. Okay. Now, if you scroll down here, you can choose different chart types. So normally you'd think that you want this line graph, and that's what it sort of sounds like. But actually, this is kind of a trick. You have to find the scatter points. Okay, so insert your scatter graph, and you have it there. I'm going to go back to advanced edit because I don't just want it to be this scatter graph. I want to have a little bit more control over what's inside it. So the top says x versus y, but I don't even want it x versus y. That's because I chose C to D columns. I want it, in this case, I made it x squared versus x. Legend, right now it's on the right. I'm going to put it on the inside. but that's just a personal choice. You can do whatever you want here. Here your title could be X or Y, and then you can change your vertical or your horizontal titles. You can also take a look at, you can make it a logarithmic scale if you want. Not that that's helpful in this one, but just nice to know about. You can make data labels, point shape. This is the important part for most of you. Here's a trend line. So if you click here, it'll give you a linear trend line. It'll make a straight line graph and then give you the equation for that graph. So use equation, and now it'll be labeled right on your chart. In some cases, you might have an exponential curve. So that's probably what we should have going on here, because I have x and then x squared. Polynomial curve. So there's a lot of different options here. But if you have the equation now for polynomial curve, you're going to see what actually lines up with what. So if I choose exponential, it's got some weird numbers. In this case, if I choose polynomial, you'll notice that that goes right through all of our lines perfectly. So just interesting to note. Mine is a polynomial curve, but for you guys on this graph, you should have, or on this lab, you should have a linear plot. And most of the time in physics, you're going to have a linear line. So update, and once you click update, it changes your graph. So another way you can adjust this, because we don't actually have y and x here, we have x, and here we have, so you have to click enter to change it, and here we have x squared. So now we have a beautiful chart already. You can adjust some more things if you want to. Axis area, move and resize, so you can just adjust. You can just adjust the actual size of the chart within it. So you can make it really small or really big. Personally, like it if you have it most of the size of your white area. So because I got rid of my legend on the right over here and put it in the middle, I think it looks nicer if you can stretch this to the side. Okay? That is pretty much the tutorial on Google Sheets. It's pretty simple. There are different functions you can use in here. So another one could be, so that's dividing. You can also multiply with that little star symbol. And you can multiply by pi by typing in pi and then clicking this thing. And it's going to give you the little bracket, end bracket. So just end off the bracket like that, and it'll give you, so this part here is exactly equal to 3.141593, etc., etc. Oh yeah, the square root symbol. Move down here. Square root symbol is just like that. You type in square root, and then bracket the whole part that you want to square root. So this is going to bracket, or this is going to square root everything inside the bracket. So everything there. Okay? That's pretty much everything for Google Sheets. As you notice, it took me like 5 minutes to make this chart, and it's way easier than doing it by hand, and that is the beauty of Google Sheets. You can also add any extra information that you want, or whatever you want to write beside it. And then you can insert this sheet into a Google Drive, Google Docs. So go to Google Docs, make a new Google Doc, you can name it up here, just like you normally do. Okay, and now you can insert a chart from Sheets. And then you find your spreadsheet. So I need to find test spreadsheet. Nice, it's right there. And I click on the chart, my import. And look at that. Beautiful, I have it embedded right into my Google Docs. And now I can write up my lab report. And it's all together. Look at that. So that is the nice thing about Google Sheets. It's all just sort of embedded within one another, and you can switch between the two really easily. Okay? Good luck on writing up this lab, and I hope that the rest of the semester goes well for you, and I hope that you all enjoy the rest of Physics 20. It is my favorite course in high school. Good luck.